My fiancée LIVESTREAMED her bachelorette party. Joking, should I even get married? My fiancée live-streamed her bachelorette party. Joking, should I even marry him? I responded in the chat, and don't bother. Then I sent a text to the venue to cancel the wedding. Her maid of honor was calling me, panicking seconds later. Me 32, male or rather was engaged to Rachel 29. I thought we were happy. I thought the meticulous planning, endless discussions about floral arrangements and font choices for invitations were the tedious, shared joy of two people building a life. Turns out, for one of us, it was just about building a stage. It was a Thursday evening. I was at home paying the final catering deposit online, feeling that quiet adult satisfaction of checking off an important item from a to-do list. My phone buzzed with a notification. Rachel F. is live on Instagram. I smiled. Her bachelorette party. A weekend at a luxury rental house with her maid of honor, Caroline, and a loud group of her friends. I clicked expecting to see silly games and champagne glasses, and that's what it was. The camera was shaky, clearly held by Caroline. Rachel was center stage wearing a sash that said, "Future Mrs. Miller," her face flushed with alcohol. They were cackling. Okay, let's get serious," Caroline said, slurring her words, turning the camera to frame both of them. "You're about to be locked down. How does it feel?" Rachel took a dramatic swig from a bottle. "Alexander is great, you know. He's so stable," she said, pronouncing the word like it was a terminal diagnosis. Her friends giggled stupidly. "He pays bills on time. His car is always clean. He remembers to take out the trash. But is he fun?" someone shouted from off-camera. Rachel's eyes, normally so bright and focused on me, looked glassy and distant. She leaned into the camera with a conspiratorial smile on her face. "He's a great provider. My parents adore him. But is it enough?" She paused for effect, looking around at her cheering friends. "Honestly, girls, should I even marry him?" The room erupted in a mix of cheers and shouts of, "Don't do it." Caroline was laughing so hard the camera shook violently. The chat beside the screen was flying past. Hearts, laughing emojis, comments like, "Run, girl," and "OMG Rachel." My world didn't shatter. There was no explosion of rage. It was more like flipping a switch, a cold, silent, deep click in my brain. The background noise of my life, the hum of the refrigerator, distant city traffic, seemed to fade into perfect, crystalline silence. She wasn't asking a question. She was expressing doubt she'd clearly been harboring for some time, and she was doing it in front of an audience of hundreds of people. My fingers moved before my brain fully processed it. I was logged into my personal account, the one with my face as the profile picture. I typed one sentence in the live chat, "And don't bother." I didn't wait to see the reaction. I closed the app. My heart was beating at a steady, rhythmic pace. Not fast, just strong. Practicality took over. The venue. I opened my text messages. I found our coordinator, Deborah. "Me. Hi, Deborah. This is Alexander Miller. Please consider this message as my formal notification that I'm canceling our wedding scheduled for October 12th. I understand the deposit is non-refundable. Please confirm receipt of this message. Thanks." I hit send. A spreadsheet. We had a massive shared Google Sheet, budgets, guest lists, vendor contacts. I clicked File, Make a Copy, saved it to my private drive. Then I went back to the original, clicked Share, found Rachel's name, and selected Remove Access. Click. Catering, I'd literally just paid them. I sent a follow-up email. Subject, Cancellation Event Number 24601. Hello. Regarding my payment moments ago, the event has been canceled. Per our contract, I understand tonight's payment and initial deposit are non-refundable. No further action needed. Sincerely, Alexander Miller. My phone rang. Caroline. Her face, twisted into a fake smile in the caller ID, was the same one I'd just seen on the live stream. I let it ring until voicemail picked up. Immediately, a text bubble appeared. "Caroline, Alexander, call me now." Seconds later, "What have you done?" And the one that made it all real. The venue just sent Rachel a cancellation confirmation. What's happening? I put my phone on silent, face down on the counter. I went to the kitchen and poured myself a tall glass of ice water. The house was quiet. She'd asked a question, and I'd simply given her an answer. The rest wasn't revenge. It was just paperwork. Update 1. The next 24 hours were a strange kind of silent storm. My phone was a nuclear reactor of notifications, dozens of missed calls from Rachel, Caroline, and some numbers I didn't recognize. Text messages ranged from hysterical, "How could you do this to me?" to vaguely threatening, "You better answer your phone, Alexander." I didn't. I forwarded the venue cancellation email to Rachel's father, who'd paid the initial deposit. The subject was FYI, and the body was blank. I felt it was fair that he be informed informed where his money had gone. Rachel came home Friday afternoon. I heard her key in the lock, the sound of her suitcase wheels on the hardwood floor. I was sitting on the couch reading a book. Alexander. I looked up. Her face was pale, her eyes red and swollen. The party sash was gone. You have 5 minutes to explain yourself, she said, her voice trembling with rage that felt completely undeserved. Explain what, Rachel? I asked, placing my bookmark carefully. You asked a question. I gave you an answer, then acted accordingly. It was a joke. I was drunk. It was my bachelorette party, she shrieked, volume increasing with each excuse. You can't just destroy our lives over a stupid joke. Was it a joke when you said I was stable like it was something bad? Or when your friends told you to run? All of that seemed pretty genuine to me. You were performing, Rachel, and you forgot that the most important member of your audience was watching. You humiliated me, she screamed. You commented for everyone to see. Then you called the venue. My phone exploded. Do you know how embarrassing that was? I imagine it was very embarrassing, I said calmly. But you were the one who live-streamed to hundreds of people. The humiliation, as you call it, began when you exposed our relationship to public ridicule. I just ended the show. This seemed to stun her. She stammered, looking for a new angle. The money, Alexander. My father's money. We just lost thousands of dollars. Your father's money, yes, I corrected. I paid the final deposits for the band and catering last night, so I've lost quite a bit too. I've already emailed your father. I'll send him a check for my half of the non-refundable venue deposit he covered. It's the least I can do. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. The idea that I was being financially responsible and decent seemed to completely short-circuit her argument. She was counting on me being a monster so she could be the victim. She left that night to stay with Caroline. Good. The next phase of the narrative began the following day. Caroline, a PR disaster in herself, created a new group chat with our mutual friends titled Supporting Rachel. Her opening salvo was a masterclass in manipulation. Caroline, hi everyone. As you may have heard, Alexander had a massive unprovoked meltdown and has canceled the wedding. Rachel is obviously devastated. He completely overreacted to a silly joke she made at her party and now refuses to talk to her. We're all trying to support her through this horrible time. My phone buzzed as some friends responded with OMG what happened and sending love to Rachel. I didn't respond. Instead, I did a bit more cleanup. Rachel and Caroline had a small side business designing invitations and social media graphics. For the past year, they'd been using my premium Canva account and my Adobe Creative Cloud license. I logged in, changed the passwords, revoked access. Then I remembered the shared Amazon account, the one where my credit card was the primary payment method. I logged out all other devices, changed the password. Later that night, I got a call from a number I recognized as Rachel's father, Jack. I answered. Alexander, he said, voice heavy. It's Jack. What the hell is going on? I explained it calmly. I told him about the live stream, the exact words she used, the friends cheering her on, and the public nature of it all. I told him I saw a future with his daughter that she clearly and publicly wasn't sure she wanted. He was quiet for a long time. She can be dramatic, son, he said finally. She gets carried away in the moment. She didn't mean it. With all due respect, Jack, she's 29 years old. She's not a dramatic child. Getting carried away doesn't cover publicly questioning your decision to marry someone a month before the wedding. She meant it in that moment, and that moment was enough for me. He sighed. It was a sigh of deep paternal exhaustion. What now? We untangle our lives, I said. That's all. After hanging up, I walked through the silent apartment, our apartment. On the fridge was a photo of us from a trip last year, smiling, looking happy. A deep, sharp pang of pain hit me. Not for her, not for the person who mocked me on a live stream, but for the man in that photo, for the future I thought I had. The feeling passed. It was replaced by grim determination. This was a controlled demolition, messy, sad, but necessary to clear the ground for whatever came next. My phone buzzed. A message from Caroline. Rachel needs to come get her stuff, and you owe her the wedding money she spent. Her father is going to call your parents. I laughed. The entitlement she felt was almost impressive. You owe her. I screenshot the message. Something told me it would be useful to have a record of their mindset. This was just the beginning. Update 2. It's been 2 weeks since what my friends now call a live stream incident. The initial shockwave has subsided, replaced by the tedious, heavy work of separating two lives. Rachel is still holed up at Caroline's house. Her Supporting Rachel group chat has apparently become a hotbed of complaints about me, but a couple friends sent me screenshots. The narrative is that I'm being cold and punitive, which is hilarious considering I'm just living my life while Rachel is the one who blew up the wedding. The first major issue was the apartment. The lease is in both our names. Rent was due on the 1st. I paid my half. Her half went unpaid, so I sent an email. I find written communication is best in these situations. It leaves a record. To Rachel F. CC, Jack F. Subject, late rent for Apt 4B 123 Main Street. Due October October 1st. Rachel, this is a reminder that your half of the rent totaling $1,100 is 5 days overdue. Per our signed lease agreement, we are both legally responsible for the full amount. Non-payment will negatively affect both our credit histories and may result in eviction proceedings. Please remit payment immediately. If you wish to be removed from the lease, you'll need to sign a release form with the landlord and pay your share of rent through that date. Sincerely, Alexander. I CC'd her father because it was his money she was used to spending. Let him be aware of the debts she was accumulating. The phone call came within 10 minutes. It was Rachel, and she was furious. I can't believe you CC'd my father, she screamed. Hi, Rachel, I said, putting the call on speaker so I could continue making coffee. Are you calling to tell me you've paid the rent? I'm not paying rent on a place I don't live. You kicked me out. I didn't kick you out, Rachel. You left after you torched our engagement. Our legal obligation to the landlord, however, didn't leave with you. I'm protecting my credit history. You should worry about yours. This is so cruel. Are you trying to ruin me? No, I'm trying to pay my bills. Something you once described as stable and boring. Turns out it's pretty important. Let me know when you've sent the wire transfer. I hung up. The next day, her brother Dennis showed up at my door. He's 2 years younger than her and shares her sense of theatrical grievance. Dude, he started without preamble. You need to pump the brakes. You're going to ruin her credit over a few $100 after everything she's going through. Everything I've put her through, you mean? I asked, leaning against the doorframe. Let me be clear, Dennis. Your sister publicly disrespected me and our relationship. I ended it. Now there are administrative tasks to complete. This is one of them. She pays what she owes, signs the papers to get off the lease, and this part of the problem is solved. Be a gentleman, man. Leave her alone. Being a gentleman doesn't mean setting myself on fire to keep others warm, I said, a phrase I'd been repeating to myself a lot lately. It means taking care of my responsibilities, which I've done. She needs to take care of hers. He left muttering about how I'd changed. I hadn't. I just wasn't willing to absorb the cost of her irresponsibility anymore. Then came the matter of her belongings, and one of mine. In the chaos, I realized something was missing from my nightstand. My late grandmother's watch. It wasn't flashy, but it was a beautiful piece of vintage clockwork and one of the few things I had from her. Rachel loved wearing it. She always called it our watch, but she knew it was mine, a family heirloom. She'd arranged via text, a terse one-line message, for Caroline to come collect her things while I was at work. I sent another email to Rachel F. CC, Jack F. Subject, personal item pickup and return of family heirloom. Rachel, I'm agreeable to Caroline collecting your belongings tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Please ensure she also returns my grandmother's watch that was on my nightstand. For clarity, I've attached a screenshot of our July texts where you asked to borrow it. It must be returned tomorrow. Thanks, Alexander. The CC to her father was a calculated move. He'd known my grandmother, knew how much that watch meant to me. I was making it clear this wasn't just about stuff. A line was being crossed. The next day, I came home from work to find an apartment that felt eerily empty. Her closets were cleared. Her makeup was gone from the bathroom. It was a relief. I checked my nightstand. No watch. My heart sank, but the anger that followed was cold and sharp. This wasn't an oversight. It was petty, deliberate theft. The rent remained unpaid. The watch was gone. But something new had appeared in my inbox. An email from Jack. Subject, let's fix this. It seemed Daddy was finally ready to step in. Final update. It's been about 4 months. The divorce is finalized. Just kidding, we never got married, so it was just a clean, brutal breakup. The emotional shrapnel has mostly settled, and my life is blissfully quiet. Rachel's father Jack's email led to a face-to-face meeting, all three of us at a coffee shop on neutral ground. Felt like a hostage negotiation. Rachel was sullen, staring at her latte like it contained the secrets of the universe. Jack just looked tired of his 29-year-old daughter's self-inflicted drama. He started by sliding a small velvet bag across the table. It landed next to my hand. Here, he said, voice flat. This is yours. This was never in question, Rachel, and it was beneath you to take it. Rachel flinched but didn't look up. I opened the bag, my grandmother's watch. I felt a wave of relief so deep it almost buckled my knees. I pocketed it without saying a word. Point one to me. Now the rent, Jack continued, looking at a piece of paper. I've sent you the $1,100 for last month's rent, Alexander. I've also spoken with your landlord and paid the fee to remove Rachel's name from the lease. This is the last time, Rachel. The absolute last time I bail you out of a mess you created yourself. She mumbled something that sounded like it was his fault too. I just sipped my coffee. Let her keep her narrative. The facts were written in her father's check. Then came the final agenda item, wedding expenses. This was the part one knew she was waiting for, the part where she thought she might claim some kind of financial victimhood. We need to settle the rest of the wedding expenses, Jack said. It's pretty simple, I responded, pulling out my own list. You and Rachel pay paid for her dress and invitations. I paid the non-refundable deposits for the band, catering, photographer, and the total non-refundable cost of our honeymoon to Italy. I also bought the engagement ring. Rachel finally spoke, her voice loaded with venom. So you're going to reimburse me for the dress money, right? I can't return it. I almost laughed. Absolutely not. You can sell it or burn it. I don't care. As for my losses, I'll sell the engagement ring to recoup some of the honeymoon cost I'm no longer taking. Her head snapped up, eyes blazing. You're going to sell the ring? After everything it was supposed to mean. I leaned forward, keeping my voice low and even. It was supposed to mean we were building a life together, Rachel. A life you publicly questioned for sport. When you asked on that live stream whether you should bother marrying me, you voided the ring's meaning. It's no longer a symbol. It's just a stone. A very pretty, very sellable stone. The finality in my voice seemed to hit her harder than anything else. There was nothing left to discuss. The dream was dead, and I was liquidating the assets. And that was it. We left. I never spoke to her again. Here are the final consequences, as I've pieced them together from the occasional message from a mutual friend and general social gossip. Rachel is still living with Caroline, and by all accounts, the friendship is imploding under pressure. Caroline signed up to be the fun maid of honor, not the full-time caretaker of a miserable, broke roommate. Rachel had to get a real 9-to-5 office job that she apparently hates. She tells people I ruined her life. In a way, I suppose I did. I ruined the life she thought she was entitled to, where her actions had no consequences. Caroline's reputation took a nosedive. The live stream, which was screen-recorded by dozens of people, circulated everywhere. She's no longer seen as the fun party instigator, but as the malicious enabler who gleefully helped her best friend torpedo her own future. Karma is a curious thing. Me, I sold the ring, got a decent price for it. I lost money, yes, but I gained peace, which is priceless. The apartment feels like mine now. It's clean, quiet, and stable. I'm embracing the boring life Rachel so despised. It's been incredibly peaceful. I blocked her, Caroline, and her brother everywhere. Last week, I booked a flight, a solo trip to Italy. I'm going on that honeymoon alone. It's not the trip I planned, but it feels right. Feels like a beginning. The best part? The absolute lack of remorse on her part. She'll die believing she was the victim of my overreaction. That certainty is my validation. She wanted a show, and she got one. She just got a surprise ending where the protagonist gets written out of the script in the first act. And the protagonist? You know what? He's doing just fine.